Good morning, students, and welcome back to the social science class. Okay, and today we will continue with the chapter that we have started yesterday, that is the colonial rule or the British rule. Okay, now this chapter, children, I've already explained you that this chapter contains about the rule of the Britishers in India. And who are the Britishers? The Britishers are the people who have came to India for trading. They have not came to India for ruling. But when they came to India, they have seen that the condition of India was such that they all starting ruling over India. They have came to India when the Mughals were ruling and Jahangir was the emperor of India. So they asked the permission that can we have trade relations with India. So they allowed them to trade in India. The Britishers were not only the one person or other people, like the Dutch people were also there, the Portuguese people were also there, and these people also wanted to have trade relations with India. But the Britishers have defeated all these rivals and they captured the Indian market. They wanted to have trade, but the sole trade. What is sole trade? The alone person who wanted to trade in India. So they have started, the Britishers have formed a fort in Bengal and they started having an army. So the ruler of Bengal, that is Sirajud-Dowlah, was very suspicious about the Britishers, and he did not allow to fortify or to build a fort in Bengal. Understood? So what happened? There is a fight between the Nawab of Bengal, that is Sirajud-Dowlah, and the Britisher, and that battle is called as the Battle of Plassey. This battle we have already discussed, we have already done. Okay, now today we'll talk about the another part of it, and there is another battle which is fought between the Nawab and the Britishers, that is the Battle of Buxar. So these two battles were fought from the Nawab from one side and the Britishers on the another side. But these two battles, in these two battles, who have won the battle? The Britishers have won the battle. And because of these two battles, there is a power, or you can say that the Britishers have captured and they have started gaining confidence to rule in India. Okay, so they have become confident, they have become so, they have started from a trading company to a ruling company. Okay, so this was the first thing, that they came as traders and then they started ruling over India. Slowly and slowly, by the war, they have started capturing India. Slowly and slowly, by the wars, they have started capturing India. And they have also started various tactics to take the territory of India under their control. So they wanted to have a control over India. So they can control over India firstly by fighting, by having a war. So there is a war. So these two battles, that is the Battle of Plassey and Battle of Buxar, have gained the confidence of the Britishers and they started ruling over parts of Bengal. So after ruling some parts of Bengal, they wanted to capture more and more territories. Okay, they were now wanted, slowly and slowly, a trading company wanted to capture more area. Okay, so by this, they started having various different methods to capture various parts of the territories of India, or to capture more and more territories of India. So they first started one system known as the Subsidiary Alliance. Okay, children, I have already explained you the Subsidiary Alliance. Let me show it again. Okay. Okay. So this we have already discussed. Okay, we'll talk about Subsidiary Alliance. What is Subsidiary Alliance? Subsidiary Alliance is a type of an agreement. It is a type of a treaty which a ruler has to sign with the Britisher. What is a Subsidiary Alliance? It is a type of a treaty which has to be signed by a ruler with the Britisher. There are two important things in the treaty, or you can say in this Subsidiary Alliance. What are these two important things? The first important thing is the ruler cannot keep the army of his own. Understood? The army of the ruler cannot be kept. Means the ruler has to keep the army of the Britisher. The ruler cannot have his or her own army. This is the first thing. Second thing, that the ruler cannot have friendship with any other king. Understood? The ruler cannot have friendship with any other king. So the people or the rulers were first they were very happy to sign this Subsidiary Alliance. But later they recognized that this treaty or this alliance was not good, and they wanted to get rid from the British rule in India. Okay. So the next important treaty or next important step which the Britishers adopted to capture Indian territory is Doctrine of Lapse. Children, please understand there in this class only. Then in the higher class, whenever your teacher asks that what anybody knows what is Doctrine of Lapse, you must answer this. Yes ma'am, I know, my previous teacher has taught me about this. Okay, that is Doctrine of Lapse. This Subsidiary Alliance will also come, and this Doctrine of Lapse will also come. So I have already explained you the Subsidiary Alliance. The Doctrine of Lapse is Lord Dalhousie enabled the British to take control of any state if its ruler died without leaving a natural heir. Children, I explained these lines to you. Please try to understand. Suppose there is a king. Suppose I'll take an example of Rani of Jhansi. Everybody knows about Rani of Jhansi. You might have heard about this, and various types of poems are also there for about Rani of Jhansi. So you people have heard about, you have seen various serials have also been made, various movies have also been made about Rani of Jhansi. So what happened to Rani of Jhansi? Rani of Jhansi, his husband have died. Okay, and he has no son. Okay, so they insisted, they asked the Britishers that can we adopt a son? Because who will become the next king then? So Rani of Jhansi has adopted a son. But what did the Britishers do? They have not allowed to become the next king. They have not allowed the adopted son of Rani of Jhansi to become the next king. Understood? So what happened in Doctrine of Lapse? Suppose a king is there and that king died without a son. Okay, then his territory will automatically go in the hands of Britishers. Understood this thing? Suppose a king is there and he has no son. So after his death or after the death of the king, that all his territory will go in under the hands of the Britisher. Okay, means that adopted son will not become the next king. Okay, the adopted son will not become the next king. So this happened, and they were not permitted to adopt a son. So who are all the people who have affected by this doctrine of lapse? That is Jhansi, Nagpur and Satara. They were annexed under the doctrine of lapse. Okay, so this was the first thing, that is the subsidiary alliance was there. Then we come to doctrine of lapse. Understood? I'll once again explain what is doctrine of lapse. Means a king is there. A king died without a son. So the adopted son will not become the next king. So his territory will go in the hands of the Britisher. Okay, and who are the people who are affected by this? They were Jhansi, Nagpur and Satara. So these are the, you can say, the places who have gone with the Britishers without a war by doctrine of lapse. Understood this thing? I'll explain once again after this. So this is called as doctrine of lapse. Now children, a very important concept in this chapter is the revolt of 1857. Okay, so why the revolt of 1857 is important in history of India? Okay, now please understand it. This is a very important chapter, and very interesting thing is that why did the people revolt? You know what is a revolt? Okay, what is a revolt? Revolt means the people fight against the Britishers. Many people are unhappy with the Britishers from the beginning only. The Britishers are not being liked by many people, but the people don't revolt it. The people did not fight back. The people fight back in the 1857. So what happened? Everybody was unhappy before also, but nobody revolted till the revolt of 1857. But what happened in 1857? So we discuss the revolt of 1857. What happened in the revolt of 1857? The revolt of 1857, this revolt was the first war of independence. Means every section of society, the king was not happy, the farmers were not happy, the forest people are not happy, the soldiers were also not happy. It means even if you are a poor person, if you are a rich person, if you are a working person, if you are any section of society you belong, you are not happy with the Britisher. But you are not fighting back. But what happened when the people fight in the revolt of 1857? So revolt of 1857 can be called as the first war of independence. This can also be called as first war of independence. All the section of Indian society were unhappy under the British rule. I've already explained this, that even if you were a king, if you were a queen, if you were a farmer, if you are a soldier, if you are making a pot or you are making anything, every section of society was not liking the British rule. So all these sections of society, the Indian kings were also unhappy, as they were afraid of losing their kingdom. Why the kings were unhappy? Because they thought that these Britishers will take their kingdom. The kingdom will be taken by the Britisher. The people thought that their region or religion was in danger. The people thought that their religion was in danger. Why? Because the Britishers are converting the Hindus, the Muslims into Christianity. Why? Because the Christianity people or the Christian people are less in number. So they wanted to have more and more of Christianity or Christian people in India. So they wanted to convert them into Christianity. And second, many of them were being converted into Christianity. Okay, a large amount of Hindus, Muslims and other religions people were being converted into Christianity. The farmers were unhappy because they were forced to grow cotton and indigo and had to pay heavy taxes. Okay, they were forced. They were forced by whom? They were forced by the Britisher. Okay, they were forced by the Britisher to grow what? Cotton, indigo, and they have to sell all these things to the Britisher. Means if they wanted to go wheat, if they wanted to grow rice, no. What they have to grow? They only have to grow what the Britishers are wanting them to grow. Okay, so the kings were unhappy. Why the kings were unhappy? Because they were afraid that their kingdom will be taken away. And why the farmers were unhappy? The farmers were unhappy because they were forced by the Britisher to grow cotton and indigo, and the farmers had to give a large amount of heavy tax. Okay, they have to give a large amount of heavy taxes. The traders and businessmen were unhappy. Now who comes the third section? The traders and the businessmen. The traders and the businessmen were also unhappy because they were not allowed to trade or manufacture items of their own choice. Means if I am manufacturing food articles, or if I am manufacturing like wood or furniture, etc. So I am not allowed to manufacture that. I will only manufacture that thing which the Britishers wanting me to make. Okay, means I am manufacturing something else, but the Britishers wanting something else. So they were forcing the traders to manufacture that only. Suppose I am manufacturing wool or wool cloth, okay, but I have to be forced by the British people are forcing me to manufacture cotton cloth. Okay, so I am manufacturing cotton cloth because the Britishers are forcing me to do that. Okay, so the first section, the king and queens were unhappy because they thought that their area will be taken away. Second is the farmers were unhappy with the Britishers. Why the farmers were unhappy? Because they were forced to grow cotton, indigo, and they have to pay heavy taxes. Business and traders was also unhappy with the Britishers because they were not allowed to trade or manufacture of their own choice. Okay, so the Indian soldiers refuses to use a new rifle called as Enfield rifle, which were believed to be greased with the fat of cow and pig. Children, now what happened in 1857? Okay, please understand this. Now, in 1857, there is one new gun or rifle. Everybody knows what is a gun or rifle. Now that rifle has one cartridge. Okay, cartridge means which is inserted inside the gun, and then you have to shoot that. Okay, but that new rifle has, or which is that new rifle or new gun is called as Enfield rifle. Okay, now what happened, that Enfield rifle cartridge, or that you can say, call in Hindi that goli, which is being greased. Grease means coated. Okay, उस गोली के ऊपर there is a coating of the fat of cow and pig. There is a coating of cow and pig. So what happened to these? So what happened? This, what you have to do it, you have to open it, you have to tear it. Okay, you have to tear that covering from the mouth, and then you have to insert it inside the gun, and then you have to fire it. Understood this thing? Understood? Should I explain? I'll explain once again. First, there is a gun. Okay, that is called as Enfield rifle. Okay, in that gun you have to put one cartridge. That cartridge has a covering. Covering of what? Covering of fat of cow and pig. So what did the soldiers have to do? The soldiers have to tear that cartridge from the mouth, and then you have to insert that cartridge in that gun, and then you have to fire it. So what happened? So this was not being liked by, because Hindu considered cow as sacred, as God. Okay, so meat of the cow cannot be put into mouth. Okay, and what happened to Muslims? The Muslim people also consider pig as impure, so that fat can also not be put into mouth. So both the Hindus and the Muslims said that we will not put that cartridge, not open that cartridge, and we will not use that Enfield gun. We will not use that particular gun. So what happened? This started, all this together contributed to the spark of the revolt. So everybody revolted, okay, in the revolt of 1857. But this was the immediate cause, okay. This revolt started from Meerut in UP and soon reached other chiefs, but it was finally crushed by the Britishers, okay. It was finally crushed by the Britishers. The Britishers did not, or you can say the Britishers crushed this revolt. They have defeated the Indian people. Okay, this was the revolt of 1857. Okay, children. So the next thing, the main heroes. Who are the main heroes of the revolt of 1857? Okay, the main heroes who headed the revolt were Rani Lakshmi Bai. Can you see the picture here? Okay, so first is Rani Lakshmi Bai. Of Jhansi, Nana Sahib, Tatya Tope, Kunwar Singh, Begum Hazrat Mahal, Rao Tullaram, and hundreds of others who have fought against the Britishers. So these are the important heroes of the revolt of 1857. Okay. Now, what are the main causes of the defeat of the revolt of 1857? Bahadur Shah Zafar, the Mughal emperor, led the revolt, but he was exiled to Burma, where he died later. Okay, who was the head of the revolt? Bahadur Shah Zafar was very old at that time. He cannot lead the revolt. Why he cannot lead the revolt properly? Because he was very old at that time. Okay, so Bahadur Shah Zafar, the Mughal emperor, were caught by the Britishers and they were sent to Burma to exile. Exile means they were sent out of India and put into jail, where he died later. So there were no person to lead the revolt. Okay, so this is the revolt all about. Now we will discuss about the causes of the defeat of the revolt of 1857. Now the first is, the revolt was not well organized. What is the main problem with the revolt? Everybody was so brave, everybody was so good. But what is the main problem with the revolt? The problem with the revolt is that it could not spread to other part of India. Means only in Meerut, Delhi, etc. It was confined to that only. Okay. It is not. It has started at one place, but it cannot spread out throughout the country. Why it cannot spread throughout the country? Because Indians do not have good means of transportation. Okay, there is no good means of communication also. So they were confined to one place or 2 or 3 places. It cannot be spread throughout India. Okay. Bahadur Shah Zafar proved to be a weak leader. The next important thing, that Bahadur Shah Zafar was a very old and very weak leader. So there is no particular leader to lead the revolt. Okay. The people were not fighting for a single cause. They were forced the revolt to start before time. Okay, it was planned, you can say, at a later time, but it started at early in May, but it was planned that it will start on 31st, or you can say on 30th of May, but it has started very early, like 10th of May, etc. So this has led a confusion. It has led you can say mismanagement of the revolt. People were not fighting for a single cause, forcing the revolt to start before time. The Indian soldiers neither had enough money nor enough weapons to continue the revolt. The people, Indian people were poor. The people don't have arms and ammunitions. The people don't have food. The people don't have soldiers, etc. to fight. So they had more money also. So this led to the defeat of the revolt. Okay, the turning point of revolt of 1857. The revolt of 1857 was a turning point in the Indian history, as the rule of British East India Company came to an end and the India came under the direct control of British Crown. Children, please understand this paragraph or these lines. I'm telling you again and I'm explaining you again this also. You know that Britishers who came to India is a trading company. Okay, British who have came to India is a trading company. Okay, like a trading company like Reliance or Tatas and Birlas, etc. Okay, so when they came to India, they have came to India for trade, not to rule. They have came to India for trade, not to rule. Okay, so the trading company is named as the British East India Company. But after the revolt of 1857, the British government have brought a notice that this trading company known as the British East India Company have to go back to Britain, and India will be under direct control of the British government. Now, who will be ruling over India? The British Crown or British government will be ruling, not a trading company. Understood? Should I repeat? A trading company is removed, that is British East India Company is removed, and the British Crown or British government will rule over India. Understood? A very, very big step has been taken after the revolt of 1857. Okay, now this was a turning point. The last point is the birth of the Indian National Congress. Okay, this has started with the independence part. Okay, how does India gains independence? Okay, now the Indian National Congress was founded by A.O. Hume in 1885. Okay, it was the first it was the first party which is being formed for India. Okay, for the for governing India. Okay, so the first session of the Congress was led in Mumbai, in which W.C. Banerjee was the first president. So they were first Indian National Congress. This first session set in Mumbai with W.C. Banerjee as the president. At this time, the Congress was not anti-government. At this time, this Congress part or this political party is not against the Britishers. Okay, soon more and more people began to join and started putting their demands. Okay, soon more and more political parties, more and more people started joining, and they wanted to get rid of the British government. It also started criticizing the government policies. In 1905, when the government decided to divide Bengal, it opposed the move strongly. So what happened in 1905? That is called as partition of Bengal. So all these detail we will study in class 8th. So for now, you should know that now more and more people started to revolt against the Britishers. The Swadeshi and the boycott movement were launched against the partition in 1906. Congress leaders who had two groups, the moderates and the radicals, or it is also called as extremist, means in the Congress there are two types of people, means the moderates who don't want to believe in war or to fight, and the radicals or the extremists, or you can say these people wanted to gain independence through war. Okay, Mahatma Gandhi ji was a moderate. He does not believe in war. He believed that India will gain independence, but not through war. Bhagat Singh is a radical, was a radical or extremist who believed in a war to gain independence. Okay, the moderates believe in discussions and appeals. The radicals do not believe in appeal. They wanted to have a war. I want this. Okay, but favored strikes and boycotts. The three leaders, Lala Lajpat Rai, Bal Gangadhar Tilak, and Bipin Chandra Pal, were the famous radical leaders. Radical leaders, they were also popularly known as Bal, Lal, and Pal. They were radical leaders. They were fierce leaders. They wanted to gain independence through war, that we will we have a war against the Britishers and we will gain independence. Okay. Some young revolutionaries were also active. Aurobindo Ghosh and the Veer Savarkar were among them. They believe in cult of the bomb, means they believe that we will do something explosive so that we can gain independence. Okay, and Mahatma Gandhi and many other leaders who do not believe in war. They wanted to gain independence, but through peaceful means, not through war. Okay, children. So a very important chapter for your future classes. Okay. So I want everybody to go through it, join these two chapters together, go through it and remember all these things, children. It is not that you have finished in this class only. This will continue and this will be there for your future classes. Okay. Take care. This is for today. And okay, children, please go through it and please give your attendance by writing down your name, class, and very important, your section. Okay, so take care and stay safe.